Welcome back. All right, so there's 4 games tonight in the National Hockey League, and I agree with there was a poll this morning about whether or not we should have hockey games on trade deadline day. My answer to that is no. I think that if they move the trade deadline to, say, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, which is when games are normally starting, and just don't schedule games that day, I honestly, like looking at some of last night's games, there's no proof that players are distracted at this time of year. But yeah, there were some plays that made you wonder, were these players' heads completely in the game, or are there players that are thinking, am I going to be here tomorrow, kind of thing? And it's understandable. So, anyways, we don't take the day off. We get close, though. There have been trade deadline days where they have maybe 2 games on, which tells you if they wanted to, they could make it so there aren't any games on that day. But here we go. So 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start time between the Boston Bruins. Let me just adjust this. There we go. In against the Montreal Canadiens. Boston's beaten them twice already. I like the odds of them winning again tonight, depending on, of course, what happens with trade deadline and everything. Boston won November 14th, 5-2. They won January 12th, 5-1. The fourth meeting between these teams will be April 24th. For Boston, they're 38-19-5. Last 10 games are 7-2-1. They did win their last game. Away from home, they're 29-3. They're 2 points behind Toronto. They're 3 points behind Tampa Bay. So the race for whoever's going to finish in the top 3 in the Atlantic is not over, but Boston's going to need some wins and some losses from teams ahead of them in order to really move up. Montreal, 17-36-9. Last 10 games, they're 5-3-2, and they won their last game. At home, they're 9-18-3. They're 6 points behind Ottawa and New Jersey. Philadelphia moved ahead of them, of course, with a victory yesterday. So for Montreal, really, it's just a matter of Montreal-Boston games usually being pretty darn good. Although, again, this year, Boston's won both games. I do expect a Boston win tonight. But we'll see, right? Because Boston's definitely played down to opponents recently, too. So we will see how things go. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, the Minnesota Wild and Vegas Golden Knights finish out their series. So Vegas has won both. November 11th, they win 3-2. December 12th, they win 6-4. Vegas is 34-26-4 overall. Last 10 games, they're 4-6. They've won 2 in a row. Away from home, they're 16-13-1. They're 2 points behind Edmonton, 4 points behind Nashville, who are the number 1 wild card, and 1 point ahead of Dallas. And Dallas, of course, has games in hand, so Vegas needs to keep winning. On the Minnesota side, will Fleury play tonight? I wouldn't imagine on the day he gets traded he suits up that first night for his new team. But boy, if he played against Vegas, right? So, Minnesota's 35-20-4. Last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. They've won 2 in a row. At home, they're 19-7-1. They're about 1 point back of St. Louis. They're tied with Nashville. They have the tiebreaker on Nashville right now. And they're 5 points ahead of Dallas. Dallas, of course, being below the playoff line. So they're not out of danger. Acquiring Fleury, though, should really solidify their goaltending. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific start time between the Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. So the Oilers and Avs meet for the first time this year. The Oilers 35-23-4 overall. Last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. They've won 5 in a row. This is a great test, though, for the Oilers to see if they're really getting to that next level. Away from home, they're 16-11-4. They're 2 points back of LA. They're 2 points ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights. So that division has tightened up quite a bit. On the Colorado side, they're 44-13-5. Last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. They've won 3 in a row. At home, they're 24-3-3. They're 16 points clear of St. Louis. So probably going to win the division. Next games will be on April 9th and April 22nd between these teams. And at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, the Nashville Predators in against the Anaheim Ducks. These teams have already met twice. Nashville won both times. November 22nd, it was a 3-2 victory for Nashville, and they won March 10th by a score of 4-1. Nashville's 36-22-4 overall. Last 10 games, they're 6-4. They did win their last game. Away from home, they're 17-11-4. They're 1 point back of St. Louis. They're tied with Minnesota. They're 4 points ahead of Vegas. This is going to be an interesting stretch run. On the Anaheim side, they're 27-26-11. Last 10 games, they're 2-6-2. They lost their last game in regulation. They've signaled that they're selling, and they're 7 points back now of a playoff spot of Vegas. So now it's about where they end up finishing in the standings, what their draft lottery position is, and what they're going to do to rebuild things for next year and beyond. So there you go. Let me know your picks in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.